Gamers on social media have been talking about how excited they really are for the upcoming game Stellar Blade's release, as we're only a few months away, but we all expected video game journalists to freak out over this title because of course it features very beautiful women and lots of panty shots, but they actually have taken a turn and are supporting this game's release, talking about how wildly awesome it looks. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. Now, of course, I think we all expected them to be freaking out over this game, for them to be outraged, because over the years, they have all been very consistently against sexy women in video games, attractive characters, and fan service. They have been against it, but now they're actually praising it. The Gamer, Kotaku, this is a Kotaku article. Stellar Blade has some absolutely wild outfits. Now, at first I thought, oh no, here we go, they're already attacking it, but they're actually not. It says, during Sony's State of Play, the company gave us a look at developer Shift Up's third-person character action game Stellar Blade, which looks both cool as heck and ridiculous as hell as you beat up robots in a variety of outfits, including a bunny one because Playboy rabbits also need to defend themselves. Previously known as Project Eve, Stellar Blade follows a warrior named Eve as she attempts to reclaim Earth from alien invaders. To do so, you'll outfit Eve with all manner of weapons to pummel your foes into submission while looking stylish AF. That's what character action games are all about, after all. Style. Now, first of all, this article truly strikes me as being written by like AI. Some of the wording here is very bizarre, but this comes across to me as them being so desperate for clicks. They are now going against the narratives that they've previously had and are actually pushing this game, and they want it to be successful almost. The next one from Kotaku is titled Everything We Know About the Stylish Action Game Stellar Blade, and they're saying it's a Bayonetta-like game that is so exciting, and it's true. I mean, many people are very excited for this title. I'm personally super hyped for it, and I will be live streaming it at launch. I've talked about it several times on the channel. It looks fantastic, in my opinion, but it's just so odd to see this happening. Now, of course, I am super happy for Stellar Blade, knowing how successful this game could be, and knowing over the years how many games have unfortunately been toned down that are extremely similar, especially when you look at the fact that this is a PlayStation exclusive. Shift Up worked with PlayStation on this game, so one might assume that it would be censored, but it definitely is not, judging by all of the gameplay we have seen so far, all of the videos we have seen so far. But it's almost like they could see that the reception to this game is so overwhelmingly positive that if they had went against this game, every gamer from every corner of the internet would just bury them. So they realize if they want to keep their jobs, they've got to say something positive about it, whether they believe in it or not. And they probably disagree with their takes in these articles, but they've got to play a part to keep viewership up, and they know that they are going to get absolutely destroyed if they trash this game. Here's also the Gamer article. Stellar Blade is an Xbox 360 game in the best ways. They talk about how it just feels very 360. They're saying it almost seems nostalgic, but they also actually go on to say that a big part of their job is to look for the deeper reading of video games, and this is obviously easier, they say, when you have games like Infinite Wealth or Baldur's Gate 3, which offer an engaging and layered story along the main path with interesting themes. But it says sometimes you just want to suit up in a skin-tight lycra steel and backflip into a tentacle monster's face. As games have embraced maturity, there's a hint of something of them being afraid of their past, even embarrassed embarrassed to be considered a video game rather than an immersive interactive experience. Embracing maturity. It's a maturity that these people have forced on the games industry. It's taking Stellar Blade to show them how idiotic their takes have been all of these years. They look at a game like this and say, that looks fun and that artwork's pretty cool. The very artwork and fun they've, at least many of them have been trying to manipulate out of the gaming industry with statements like this. The maturity they've embraced are the ideologies and political correctness you have forced on them, that you have forced on developers you have threatened to cancel for putting, as they're putting it, immaturity into video games. And of course, by that, they mean things like fan service. Like their argument of realism, it's the complete opposite of that, okay? Arguing that, these female characters don't look real, or outfits would be unrealistic for a fighter to wear. That's the thing that they usually say, but now it's great and peachy keen. These sites are honestly giving me whiplash at this point. And I truly do believe that a big piece of the puzzle here is the fact that video game journalism is struggling right now. And these activists are loathed by the general gaming community. People do not trust these individuals for reviews. They do not trust their takes on games. They do not trust them in general because oftentimes these hacks will end up tagging the audience they need to read their content. So I do think that this is a desperate grasp for positive attention and some clicks, and of course just not ending up losing their jobs because nobody is looking at their content. Like, they've got me looking at their articles because of course they have this take, and it's pretty shocking, but I still do not trust them, and I do not believe that they are going to drastically change, and these individuals have gone through some kind of mental shift and are actually believing that the words that they've put onto this page, the words that they are spewing. Because unfortunately, while they do go back and forth, oftentimes when they put up something positive about a video game or the gaming community, just a couple of days to weeks later, they go back to their normal BS. They also say that while we get games like Scarlet Nexus and Stellar Blade, they feel like games from a bygone era, and that comes full circle to make them feel fresh. These types of games still come out. They come out all of the time. It's just that these journalists ignore them because they do not fit into the mold of what they want the modern game industry to be. It is hilarious that they're sitting here going, actually, this game is pretty good. I mean, they are so desperate for clicks. And again, I think that this game looks fantastic. I am extremely excited for Stellar Blade, but of course they're going against the narratives that they typically push, because I do think they realize that they are going to get absolutely pummeled by gamers if they don't agree that Stellar Blade looks great. Maybe they do genuinely believe that this game looks awesome, but if they do, it's such a slap in the face to so many developers in the past who they have attacked, who they have denigrated, and who honestly they've tried to cancel projects for. They, Kotakus, the gamers, the Polygons, they've almost tried to get their audiences, in many cases at least, to cancel developers, and for developers to take a step back and look at their project again with a modern lens and trying to edit it, wanting them to edit it in order to, make it better for today's standards, which of course just means bland and boring. But of course, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm sorry, but if you expect me to believe that this is your narrative going forward, you've got a long way to go, because I just truly do not believe them at this point, but they've given us no reason to believe or trust their takes. And I'm again super happy for Stellar Blade, but knowing these fucks' track records, this will either be a one of, and they'll go back to whining in their political bullshit again after this game, and of course it hasn't caused meltdowns yet, but that doesn't mean they won't won't switch their tune and fight against it as we get a bit closer to release. It will be interesting to see if their tunes end up changing, if journalists from maybe other sites start attacking Stellar Blade. Only time will tell, but it comes out in just a few months. I'm very excited for it, and it seems like, honestly, the video game journalists who would typically fight against this game are so desperate for clicks and to keep their jobs, they're now supporting this title's release. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this, and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.